construction project. Everybody's well aware that was a focus. The cities, we had a $1.3 million of funding secured. Every portion of that project that would prepare us for construction is done. So all construction documents are done. We have run into a snag working with the Army Corps of Engineers through their permit process. So as you can see up there, we applied in December of 2020, response finally received in August of 2022. We turned around and submitted a formal response, and according to their timelines they've offered, it could take up to 2 years. And so we have a consultant that's working with us on the the environmental review that they request. So we will stay on this project, and what it'll happen is we'll move Lulu Haddon up in the queue and give that increased focus and ensure we meet all those timelines. So there won't be any wasted time. It's just for our folks out at Kitsap Lake, though we're just going to have to, kind of keep them informed on, let them know we're still committed. We'll get it done. All right, next slide, please. So the Lions Park Court accessibility and resurfacing project. So just so you know, we are moving forward this spring. We expect to have the court resurfaced and lined, and it will be ready for outdoor pickleball. And that's the goal. We're gonna have it ready for that springtime outdoor recreation activity. So that's just a brief update. If folks ask you, we have a growing pickleball population. It's a popular sport. And so if you hear, just let them know it's coming soon, spring of this year. Next and last slide, Kitsap Energy Summit. You will be getting an invitation this Friday. So we're working on those invitations now. And that'll be coming at 4:30, starting at 4:30 on March 30th. More details to come. So that concludes my report tonight, Council.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. Great energy. All right, next up we have the consent agenda.
Thank you, President Coughlin. For approval on the consent agenda are the following items. A, claims and check register. Approval of the following checks and electronic fund transfers. 1, check numbers 401-893 through 402-049, and electronic fund transfers V36910 through V36990 in the grand total amount of $2,243,243.17. 2, regular payroll for pay period ending February 15th, 2023 in the amount of $1,065,612.05. 3, retiree payroll for pay period ending February 28th, 2023 in the amount of $51,122.13. B, minutes of meeting February 15th, 2023. C, minutes of study session February 22nd, 2023. D, mutual aid agreement with Kitsap County Fire Agencies for the provision of fire protection and emergency medical services. E, second amendment to the park use agreement for Kiwanis Park with the Corporation of the Catholic Archbishop of Seattle, DBA Our Lady Star of the Sea School. And F, 2023 City Council goals and priorities. This concludes the reading of the consent agenda.
Thank you. Does any member of the public wish to comment on any one of these items? Let's make sure there's no hands online. Nope. All right, seeing none, we'll go to the council for a motion. Councilmember Chamberlain.
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, Councilmember Fry seconds. We have a motion and a second. I call for the question.
Councilmember Chamberlain,
Yes.
Fry,
Yes.
Dennehy,
Yes.
Goodnow,
Yes.
Mochler,
Yes.
Younger,
Yes.
Coughlin.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Next on the agenda is public recognition.
Thank you. As noted on the agenda, public recognition provides an opportunity for attendees to address the council and any city-related item that's not already listed on tonight's agenda. Please either line up at the podium in person, or if you're participating by Zoom, raise your hand and wait to be recognized. We just ask that you state your name for use in the record if you live or work in Bremerton, and limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. And we'll have a timer system to keep track so everyone's treated equally. With that, I'll open public recognition and go in the room here to the podium.
Good evening, council and mayor and staff and my name is Mary Lou Long, and I'm a longtime resident of Bremerton, and I'm here once again to try to educate and instill and reinstitute the Pledge of Allegiance as our formal opening for our public meetings. With that, I'll start with a short preface to our Constitution. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. There are 7 articles in our Constitution, and there's quite a few amendments after that. One of the amendments that I'd like to read is, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or of the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievance. I have a few questions. Do you agree with these statements? Or the statement? Do you understand that our flag embodies these words and ideals? Do you respect our nation? Do you consider yourself to be American citizens who, as are protected by its laws and principles? Do you hold these truths to be self-evident, that all humankind, or men, are created equal, and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? Do you pay taxes to the United States of America? Do you provide for the common defense? Then you must be an American. Now, if you consider yourself an American, I would like to invite you to recite the Pledge of Allegiance with me. If you don't mind, please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much, and I hope that someday that you will grow to appreciate what the flag represents to all of us around the country, all the patriots, all those people that gave up their lives to fight for the banner and which it represents is the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness that we all strive for. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anybody else for public recognition? We'll go again to the room here. Yes, please, take it away.
Thank you so much. My name is Carolyn Stein, and I'm the Executive Director for the Washington State Science and Engineering Fair, and I'm also the Regional Director for the Washington Junior Science and Humanities Symposium. And I'd like to bring you some good news. We're back in person. It is so good to be here with all of you in person, and I'm inviting all of you to join us at the end of the month on March 31st and April 1st at the Bremerton High School and Performing Arts Center, where we are going to host students from all over this Washington state, grades 1 through 12, public, private, parochial, homeschool, tribals. It matters not, kids are kids, science is science, engineering is wonderful, and we'd like to show you how it all blends together. We're looking for you to come and participate as the public. We're asking for judges. Grades 1 through 6, encourage, encourage, encourage. Grades 7 through 8, know your stuff. Grades 9 through 12, you really better know your stuff. So I'd like to take a little bit of my time and tell you about what just happened. We just held the Junior Science and Humanities Symposium, where we filled more than 81 rooms here in Bremerton. That's how many I could track until I lost count. And we had a wonderful time. We brought, from over the hundreds of applications that we received, our judges pared down the top 15 from Oregon, which we fostered those students to come to our fair cities. and the top 16 from Washington State. We started with them arriving on Friday. I gave them all itineraries and ideas and a packet with some inside information on where to go and where to visit. And they brought me back glowing reports of all kinds of things. Saturday morning was kicked off with the Naval Medical Readiness Training Command, Bremerton. They did our color guard. And our welcome speaker was Admiral Benning from COMSU Group 9. And he did a wonderful job in welcoming everyone to our area and sharing a little bit about the military. And so then we went into the competition, and on Sunday, we culminated the JSHS with a very rare tour. If you can imagine, we got to go on an active duty submarine. Admiral Benning helped these students and it's a couple of our select chaperones, and we toured the USS Nebraska, Go Big Red. And it was an experience that I personally will never forget. The students are still talking about it. And I can't tell you enough how much it means that all of you support all of us by doing this in our county and in our city. I have packets for all of the council members. And I also have one for our glorious mayor, who has already pledged that there will be a mayor's award at the state fair this year. And I got to tell you very quick little note. I received a letter. We had a first grader, and you met her last July when she came on and she zoomed in. And she was the one that said that she was going to come because of the Blackberry Festival, even though she'd never been here before.
No, so
Her family was so happy. Her family was so happy that when they sent it this time, they sent another letter that I will share next time, because in 2 weeks, I'm going to come back because we have a lot to share. Thank you so much.
No, thank you so much for all the work you do in educating our youth. It's fantastic. Thanks for sharing. All right. Is there anyone else for public recognition? Let's go online to the conduit
Excuse
with
me.
Mara and Cameron.
I want to say that I was cut off before I finished a sentence at the last council meeting.
Point of order.
Yes, thank you.
I'm
Ms.
sorry,
sit down. You've
but
had your
this
time.
lady took more time.
Yes, we'll get there. Thank you. Okay, let's go online to Mara and Cameron with the conduit.
Good evening, Council. Good evening, Mayor. How are you guys doing this evening? I'm coming to you as the Executive Director of Gather Together, Grow Together. Wanted to let you know that there is a new tax credit for Washington workers that has started here in 2023. The Working Families Tax Credit is a new program that will provide payments up to $1,200 to low and moderate income individuals and families. It's really important that individuals can qualify. The amounts are based on income level and the number of qualifying children, if any. The purpose of the Working Family Tax Credit is to stimulate the local economy, promote racial equity, and support the financial stability and well-being of Washington residents and their families. The Department of Revenue is already promoting the program, especially to communities that experience barriers to accessing critical information and services due to language, disability status, poverty, homelessness, and other factors. For more information and multilingual promotional materials and to help spread the word, the DOR's website is workingfamiliescredit.wa.gov. Our folks can also contact our office at 360-373-3000, and we're right down the street at 419 Park Avenue, and we can assist them through that. But everyone should know about this tax credit. And yeah, keep it short, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cameron. Appreciate that. Is there anybody else for public recognition? Checking no one else online. All right, seeing no other for public recognition, I'll close public recognition and move on to general business.
Thank you. General business item 6A, street fund budget adjustment for the PSC owned street light LED conversion program. Our presenter tonight is from Public Works and Utilities, and it's Internal Services Manager Chris Montner.
All right, welcome, Mr. Montner.
You. Good evening, Mayor, Council President, Council members, and others. I am here to present the street fund budget adjustment for the PSC-owned streetlight conversion program. I will begin by giving you some background information on this lighting improvement program. This information was put together by the Public Works Director and is provided within your agenda packet for this item. Currently, the city street illumination is accomplished using a combination of city-owned and PSC-owned streetlights, along with a few privately owned streetlights on private streets. To date, all 1,008 city-owned streetlights have been converted to LED. However, 1,578 of the 1,788 PSC-owned lights are high-pressure sodium HPS type lights. Currently, the HPS lights are replaced by PSC at their expense as they fail. And since these types of lights are being phased out, they are typically being replaced with LED. With the current approach, it is estimated that all HPS lights will be converted to LED in approximately 10 years. To date, the city has not been eligible for grants to fund the programmatic LED conversion. However, PSC has advised of a new rebate program that results in a 4-year payback on the cost of the conversion. The proposed program would convert PSC-owned lights in phases of 120 lights with the goal to convert 4 phases each year. With this approach, all PSC-owned streetlights would be converted to LED in approximately 3 years. Here is some cost and saving information. The city pays PSC a monthly tariff to operate and maintain each of its streetlights. For 2022, the total cost was $425,000. There are several different tariffs with different costs depending on the wattage and whether a light is HPS or LED. As an example, the 2022 cost of a 100-watt HPS light is at $14.72 per month, while a comparable 39-watt LED light is $11.61 per month. Given that the cost to convert a light to LED is $256, and considering the $3 a month savings, it takes over 7 years to recoup the conversion cost, which was not considered cost effective. PSC's rebate program reduces the conversion cost to $143 a light, which results in a 4-year payback and is considered cost effective. An added benefit to the LED conversion is that the new streetlights have a smart dimming node, which can address customer concerns or improve efficiencies. It is anticipated that the smart node streetlights will be less affected by future rate hikes. The conversion would install new LED lights meeting the city standard, including the 3,000 Kelvin CCT, and would be completed under 4 contract phases each year at a net cost of approximately $17,160 per phase, and so council action would not be required for that. That said, a budget adjustment is required to fund the 2023 work. At the current tariff rate, the annual savings to the city would be approximately $59,000 once the lights have been converted. It should be noted that PSC advises the rebate value is adjusted each January and could be eliminated at any time. Should the rebate either reduce significantly or cease altogether, the city would stop the programmatic conversion. A table of estimated costs is provided with this informational summary. Other advantages to the city of this proposed conversion project are that the LED streetlight lighting has an increased energy efficiency. LEDs are energy efficient because they emit very little heat, so that they require far less power to emit the same amount of light as conventional equivalent lights. They have a much longer lifespan, high color rendering, and are quick starting compared to the older HPS streetlights currently in use. A typical HPS streetlight fixture lasts around 24,000 hours, and an LED equivalent can last upwards to 200,000 hours. So light life expectancy is greatly increased with this program. As Tom had stated in his summary, the new LED lights would conform to existing city standards and would have the correlated color temperature of 3,000 Kelvin, which is the city's approved color appearance provided by a streetlight. There are many other benefits of this PSE-owned streetlight conversion program within the city. These new LED smart streetlights will save the city money by using less energy. These new LED streetlights will also reduce carbon in our environment. These new LED streetlights will provide a positive safety benefit that will help to reduce serious injury or fatal crashes on our streets and help to deter crime with more functioning streetlights within the city limits. These new PSE lights will also have the ability to measure lighting consumption to allow actual meter billing to the city as opposed to the flat rate billings. So this proposed streetlight conversion program will allow the city to reduce our energy usage, provide better working street lighting, and greatly reduce our carbon footprint. With the expected PSE rebates, this will allow the city to recover some of the funds that are put towards this lighting conversion project. The 2023 street budget does not allow funding for this project due to commitments of street improvement projects, capital projects, and major roadway and sidewalk maintenance plans. That is why REAP funding is identified as the 2023 funding source. Please know that we are constantly researching and looking for other funding options and grant opportunities. At this time, we have not found any state or federal grants that can be applied to the 2023 part of this street LED light conversion program. For the program years of 2024, 2025, and 2026, project funds will be proposed to be included within the street fund budgets and not consider REAP funding as a revenue source. Currently, we are looking into a federal grant program funded through the infrastructure bill that may be available to the city to fund some or all of the 2024, 2025, and 2026 costs of this streetlight conversion program. We are still unsure of all the federal requirements and restrictions, but are hopeful that grant funding will become available either with this one or others for funding the remainder of the lighting improvement phases. I will answer any questions you may have on this item.
Thank you so much, Mr. Montner. Does any member of the public wish to comment on this item? Yes, Ms. Rebolowski online.
Hi, this is Jane Rebolowski. I live in the city of Bremerton limits. I'm really concerned about the use of REAP money. There doesn't seem to be a method that the REAP money is going to be repaid by this proposal. If there was, like before the end of this fiscal year, I would probably be more in favor of it. But taking REAP money for this action, I don't think is warranted. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other member of the public wish to comment on this item? Seeing no more online, we'll go ahead and go to the council for a motion. Member Chamberlain? Or
I accidentally had this still on, but I'll go ahead since I'm here. I move to increase in the street fund budget by $70,000 to fund the PSE-owned streetlight LED conversion program.
I'll second. We have a second by Councilmember Goodnow. We're open for discussion.
Thank you. Well, I'm reading this. I think there's a little typo in it. I just read it verbatim. We have recommended motions here on our agenda packets. I guess, so first of all, I always appreciate that you come, Mr. Montner, so like informed and like you're very careful about your presentation. And so I appreciate that. I don't see a lot of the extras. I think it's maybe just like your own narrative or maybe somebody else, the narrative of the additional benefits. I don't see it in our packet. And I'm just wondering if there is another way that we can view that besides hearing it.
That is a narrative that I just handwrite in preparation of this presentation or other presentations like to the Finance Committee and the Public Works Committee or the study session.
Thank you. It gave me some other things to consider and I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Mr. Montner.
Councilmember Goodnow? I have a question. The other member, Councilmember Mockler.
Good evening, Mr. Montner. I really like the presentation that you did the last time you brought this, in addition to what we receive in the packet, you delivered a great presentation on top of that last time. And the presentation that you delivered this time was also really good. It's really, I'm quite sorry that we don't have it in the packet so that we can read it and come here and know all that. I'm really interested in the federal grant that comes out of the infrastructure bill that you're seeking funding for. Have you sought funding for any other projects through that grant, through that act?
That grant was just realized to us yesterday, and Katie Kidder is heading that up to see if what all that grant might entail and be beneficial for the city. But it is a federal Department of Energy grant, energy efficiency and conservation block grant program that could provide the funding to municipal street lighting. But the funds will not be available from that grant until 2024 at the earliest, and then if awarded those funds. So that one won't benefit us within the 2023 portion of this program, but could benefit us with the remainder phases of this street light improvement project.
Thank you. That's really good news. So this will be the first grant you're applying for through the Infrastructure Act?
Yes, this is the first one that we were aware of, which was only up yesterday that it was brought to our attention. So,
well, may it be one of many, Mr. Montner.
Sure, and it has other aspects to it as well, not just municipal street lighting. It has other avenues to it where it could be for energy reduction, efficiency studies, and energy use in general.
A cornucopia.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, so Jane Rebelowski, Vice President Chamberlain have both spoken about different aspects of this agenda item, so I'm not going to repeat what they have said. I'm going to say that over the planned lifetime of these replacements, taking advantage of the rebate, it's a little over $250,000, and that the savings will come back to the street fund at $250,000. So that's a pretty good deal, but I don't see anything in the fiscal impact that says that the money from the street fund will go back to REIT. So I'm almost done. Oh, I'm so sorry. Why don't I be quiet? You seem to want to answer. I beg pardon.
Right. I'm not sure how that does work. The finance director was going to be present tonight. He was unable to, but he did tell me if I needed him to chime in on anything, which would be something like that, he could answer, that I could text him, but I could surely do that.
Okay.
But I would have imagined there's a way that would be ensured to go back to that REIT funding and be available for REIT funded projects.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm just going to go on record once more as saying that we really need that REIT money for residential street maintenance and restoration. We really, really need it. The streetlights will be replaced over time as they fail or as PSE comes across a windfall for replacing Bremertonian streetlights at no cost to us. And we will be, unless we hear to the contrary, the REIT will be permanently depleted of $225,000 plus. That doesn't seem like a fiscally conservative solution when, I mean, yeah, so I'm just gonna be on record as stating that. Oh, please go ahead, Mr. Montner. Sorry.
Just to be clear, for the amount in the agenda bill of that 70,000 is all that would be used for REIT. Other phases of the project, the 2024, 2025, 2026 would be funded differently without use of funding.
Okay, that's I am confused. REIT is the only source for this year, but for subsequent years, there's a non-REIT source?
Right, so our plan is to budget it within the street fund for this remaining phases of this project and not affect the REIT fund money for the next few years, but also see what we can do with grant funding availabilities.
Well, that would be my recommendation. If
Right.
this were something that were any threat to the public safety or to the beauty of Bremerton, or a significant cost savings, I would be all over this. I would be recommending it left, right, and center. But as it is, I think we should pass on this. And I don't mean to cut you off, Mr. President.
No, you're good. I see Director Nucky's hand is up. If you want to yield some time to allow him to speak.
Yeah.
Might be able to answer one of the
Surely.
questions. Yes, Director Nucky, if you can hear me, just go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I wanted to, so the finance director could answer the question about refunding REIT a lot better than me, but my understanding is that it wouldn't refund REIT. REIT is restricted for only specific uses, and this is a appropriate use of the REIT funds. What this would do by spending REIT, what you'd end up doing is basically free up more general fund money, and that general fund money could then be used to fund, capital improvement projects. That's specific to that. And then as far as future funding goes, so the request is for REIT for 2023. For future budgets, we would identify the revenue source with the budget, and then council could approve it or not approve it for the future years. The grant program that Chris mentioned, again, we just found out about it. I think the email came in on Monday, and I just read it this morning. We've been looking into it. Kind of challenging from what we've seen. It doesn't appear to be a simple grant that we have a high degree of success in securing, but it looks like it is potential. And again, we're always looking for a way to supplant city revenue by using grant dollars. So even if this grant doesn't turn out to be something that we can pursue, then we would again be looking for other grant dollars to supplant future REIT or other revenue requests. Thank you.
Yield back to you, Councilmember Mockler, if you had any other questions.
I really like what Director Nucky said, and I really very much appreciate what you said. Shoot, I can't remember your title, Mr. Montner. Internal
Services Manager.
All right, Internal Services Manager, Montner. And I thought that the things you said were quite great, but it's been my experience that when things are not in writing, that it's misunderstandings can happen down the line. You, for example, could be headhunted by a firm in Paris, France, and disappear tomorrow. But things can happen, and when things are not in writing, and here I'm speaking as just as one member of council, I think we should pass on this. Hold on.
Thank you. Any other member of council wish to speak on this? Councilmember Fry.
Mr. Montner and maybe Mr. Nucky, with the realization of this new opportunity, perhaps with the federal grants, and federal grants, are always the most difficult grants to submit. But with the news of that, has there been any entertainment of the idea to just push it off a year so that you don't have to take the $70,000 from REIT this year to get it started and simply start it in 2024? Just wondering if that has been discussed at all with that new opportunity.
It has not, due to the fact that it's fairly new knowledge to us of that possibility of that grant funding. also don't want to really miss our opportunity with PSC to do the city of Bremerton city limit lighting. If you know, they might just very well move to a whole different area like Port Orchard or something like that. So
But just to clarify, we might lose out on that opportunity with PSC with this program if we waited a year.
Right. Yes. But I'm not positive about that either.
Okay. Is there an urgency other than just wanting to get this thing over with? Is there an urgency to this that outside of the PSE program, maybe there's a deadline for that or whatever, but is there an urgency to this?
Urgency is that we're paying a lot for the HPS lights, whether they're working or not. And there are a lot of lights that do not work, but we're still paying that flat rate fee for annually. So even though we try our best efforts to report outages and get those replaced by PSE in a timely manner, it sometimes doesn't happen that quick. And a lot of them are not even known to us that they're out, you know, a lot of times, and then cause, you know, dark areas of the streets and sidewalks and whatnot.
And are the county lights that you're talking about, are those on the borders of our city boundaries, or am I confusing that?
No, there's PSC street lights throughout the county.
Okay.
Down Rocky Point, for example, Navy Yard City, other areas like that
East
are not
Bremerton
in
in my
that
district have a
aren't
lot.
included in this program we're talking about here.
Okay.
This is only within the city limits.
Thank you, Mr. Martin.
We go online here. Let's go to Councilmember Younger.
Yeah, I'm going to try to amend this motion, and the motion is move to increase in the street fund budget by $70,000 using general fund ending fund balance to fund the PSC owned streetlight LED conversion program.
We have a motion to amend by Councilmember Younger. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second by Councilmember Chamberlain. Councilmember Younger, you have the floor on this amendment.
Well, thank you. I don't know if I need to belabor the point. I can sense, even though I'm online, apprehension from several council members, myself included, using REIT funds, which are very precious for capital intensive items. And as Councilmember Mockler indicated, one of my particular emphasis, which is streets. We have more than adequate capacity in our general fund balance when now we're only talking 70,000, whereas before we're talking about potentially $250,000 over 4 years. We have more than adequate capacity to fund this out of our ending fund, general fund balance. For those that say, oh, well, but we're supposed to be at whatever it is, 2 months, 2 months expenses. That's our goal. I'd like to remind everyone that that's with a full budget with all staff on hand, and the city never operates that way. We always have vacancies throughout the year. So the city should be able to manage a $70,000 hit to the general fund ending balance and still be fine and meet our self-imposed good practices of keeping 2 months expenditures on the books and general fund balance.
Councilmember Chamberlain, any comments on this amendment?
I agree with Councilmember Younger in this amendment. I think we all know what our concerns are with the REIT. I think that I just wanted to point out the irony. I just needed to point out this irony that PSC doesn't come out to fix the lights, but they come and they want to offer us a rebate.
I'm so sorry. I want to state germane to this specific amendment to general fund. I'm so sorry.
Okay, well, this amendment, that is all I have to say. I think I appreciate Councilmember Younger's information that he's provided and the amendment he's provided. Thank you.
Any other council comments on this amendment? Oh, yes, Councilmember Mockler.
Beg your pardon, I had something in my throat. So this amendment would require this agenda item go back to finance?
No, this would just be taken from the general fund instead of REIT. So
Okay.
this would, if this amendment passes, then we would vote on the new motion.
Okay, I don't have the financial expertise to substantiate Councillor Younger's assertions, but the rest of you feel comfortable with that?
I'll please direct comments
Oh, I
to
beg your
me.
pardon. Yeah, my bad. So I would like to know if yeah, I'm just going to stop right there and say I would feel uncomfortable with moving forward with this without knowing exactly how it would affect the general fund. It's literally something I don't know. I'm not hiding that. I literally don't know it. And may I add just one quick, it's not particularly on this amendment.
Then I'd say keep it germane to this
Fair
specific
enough.
amendment. Thank you. Let me just check online. Yes, Councilmember Denny.
Thank you, Council President. I have a question for Director Nucky, specifically because Director Riley isn't here. What was the reasoning that you all kind of when thinking about taking advantage of this rebate program, which is going to save the city money, so I applaud you in that. What was the reasoning that you decided to go for refunding versus general fund?
It was really his decision. I let him know what the terms of the rebate, the total project cost would be. And he said a number of times that REIT was the appropriate funding source for these types of capital improvements.
And I'm sorry, just for the record and for my own edification, when you say he, you're just talking about Director Riley?
Yes, exactly, Director Riley. Yep.
Okay, and since Director Riley isn't here, is there anybody that is part of staff, maybe if it's the mayor as well, who can let us know what we have left in general funds and what that 17% triple bond rating threshold is?
Want to take a stab, Mr. Mayor, and we can see staff.
You know, I'm not going to speak for the finance director. This won't affect our any rating that we have. And this is it's a common practice. What you're doing now is common. We'll come to you at mid-year. There's a lot of decisions that are made, and we'll pull them all up, and we'll do a mid-year budget adjustment. And so the only decision you're making right now is you want to take the funding from a source that has a lot more flexibility. You know, because you may come up in a month from now and you might want to fund something else that only general funds can support, because REIT is very limited. So you're making a decision, you're going to use something that has a lot more flexibility and options, take the money from that, leave the REIT alone. You know, so this is not uncommon. $70,000 is.
I just want to make sure the comments are specific to Councilmember Denny. He's asked about the ending fund balance.
And I'll just jump in there, Mr. Mayor. Thank you so much for answering. I guess what I'm getting at is, did you ever have any conversations with Director Riley about why he felt that REIT funds over the general funds were the correct funding source for this? You know, being a part-time council member, I always try to lean towards deferring to those who are kind of subject matter experts, and I would really like to, you know, I have a lot of trust and deference for Director Riley, so I want to make sure that I fully understand before I cast my vote.
I was involved in the conversations. REIT, the reason we use REIT for this type of funding for this type of project is because it's very limited. You can't use it in a number of applications, and we also, just due to the amount, we can actually leverage it, as you can see, with grant money, as well as with the savings that we're going to realize in perpetuity. And so this is a conversation we had. For the administration, this is an easy proposal and decision to make, to use funding that has a lot of restrictions small amount that can actually be leveraged in this way versus using general fund, which you can use general fund for a number of reasons, and you probably will before we hit mid-year.
Great. Thanks for that. And for those reasons that I suspected, I'm going to not support the motion and encourage my other fellow members not to support it as well. Specifically because I do think we're going to get a lot of asks, specifically possibly from other branches of government in the coming months. So I'd like to not mess with our general funds. Thank you.
Do you any other council members that haven't spoken yet comment on this amendment? Seeing none, the one question for this amendment is there anything that REIT dollars can be spent on that general fund dollars cannot? I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, maybe that's a question for you since Director Riley's not here.
You know, without having actually Director Riley here from all of my time, I don't know of one scenario where we couldn't fund a capital facility, a capital project with general fund. I can't think of a time we could not fund capital project with general fund.
Gotcha. So general fund dollars can be spent on just about anything we so choose. REIT dollars, although flexible, have specific uses.
Right. Within the as long as we're benefiting the city, yes.
Yeah. No personal Lamborghinis. Yeah. Excellent. Okay, seeing no other comment by council, just making sure online, the hands, okay, none, then I'll call for the question on this motion. Or, sorry, did you, Councilman Mockler? Yeah. The microphones themselves to see the light.
Yeah, I shall. So we are voting on an amended motion. Let me just understand this. Based on information that we can't verify in the absence of Director Riley.
Any other comment or question?
I do not know the form to withdraw, to rather postpone this, because we are voting on something that we can't fully, we don't have enough information to make a decision on it. So I don't know what is the form.
So I'll go for parliamentarian, but I believe we could, yes. Sorry, Ms. Hoover.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Good. Okay. So we would need to vote on the amendment first before we would even post.
Do a motion to table or anything like that.
And just for clarification, we're inserting the words into, we're amending the motion by inserting the words using general fund ending fund balance. Am I correct?
So the full, can you read the full motion
full
as you believe would be amended, and we'll check with Councilmember Younger.
So it'd be to increase the street fund budget by $70,000 using general fund ending fund balance to fund the PSE owned streetlight LED conversion program.
Councilmember Younger, is that correct as you intended to state it? I'm seeing a head nod.
Yes.
Okay.
So that is the amended motion that we are voting on currently.
Okay.
Is everybody clear?
Clear? Okay. With that, then I'll just call for the question on this amendment.
Okay. Councilmember Dennehy?
No.
Goodnow?
No.
Mockler?
No.
Younger?
Yes.
Dillon?
No.
Fry?
No.
Coughlin?
No.
The amendment fails. So now we're back to the main motion, which is move to increase the street fund budget by $70,000 to fund the PSE owned streetlight LED conversion program.
Thank you. And Councilmember Younger, you still have the floor on the main motion if you wanted to provide any more comments or questions.
No, I have no comments on the main motion.
All right, thank you. And then Councilmember Dennehy, you had not spoken yet on the main motion. If you had any comments or questions.
No, I don't think I have any comments or questions other than, speaking personally for myself, I do feel like I have enough information to vote on this. I know that was kind of put out there. So I just want to talk about what I feel. And I'm ready to vote.
Okay, thank you. And then we'll do another round on the main motion. Councilmember Fry.
I believe that Director Riley knew that this was on the agenda under general business and made the decision. You know, I know he had other business to take care of tonight, but I'm not aware. Has there been any concern expressed by him or his staff about this? I mean, he's signed on for this. Is that correct? He's been involved in all of this. So I don't feel the need to have him answer any more questions. So, yeah, ready to go.
Councilmember Goodenow.
So I want to start by saying that I feel that the council bodies preceding this year have made it pretty clear to the administration and the public works that this is something we would like done for environmental sustainability, for cost savings. And, you know, so I think it's, I just see it as a priority, and I see that we want to take advantage of these rebates when they're available. You know, I think that they came up with a good plan, and the idea that REIT is designed to pay for exactly this type of thing makes it more sense to me to pull money out of REIT to do this, and relatively a small amount of money. Quite frankly, I'm surprised how big of a conversation this has been. So that's all I wanted to say. That I do want to just make sure it's clear that I feel that this is something that the council has really encouraged the administration and public works to pursue, and I commend them for what they've been able to put together.
Fantastic. Any other comments or questions with the round two before I give my own? Councilmember Chamberlain.
It's probably germane now to point out the irony of the PSC doesn't come to fix their lights, but they want us to but anyway, that the irony that that PSC isn't fixing their lights, but they are offering us a rebate program to buy lights from them. Is that how this is working? Am I correct in understanding it? But I won't beleaguer this point anymore either. I'm done. That's it.
Okay, so for me, thank you, Mr. Monitor, for answering these questions. It's definitely nice to have the due diligence to understand exactly where the funds are going. I had two questions I wrote down ahead of time. One is the smart dimming node sounds really cool. So that, if I understand it right, if because I've gotten this door knocking and talking to neighbors. So if there's a street light that's really bright outside, say someone's window and shining, the city could actually tune that and dim it a little bit. Is that right?
The city camp of PSC can, on our request after evaluation by our transportation engineers and other city officials that would evaluate the need for that, make sure it won't affect safety or any other lighting issues.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, no, I've talked to a lot of folks who want well lit sidewalks and streets, but there has been a case or two where it's just an unfortunate position in their window, so that would be really helpful. I value, this seems to me an improvement to safety. Yes, there are existing lights, but the LEDs, from my opinion, from what I've seen, they shine brighter, more consistent. It'll hopefully improve visibility in the city and safety. The uniform appearance, I think, is a benefit. And as has been mentioned, just the energy savings of being climate friendly. And I did go back, and there was a council goal in 2020 to replace streets lights with LEDs. So I know we've done all our city ones, but I think that personally, I think that applies to these PSC lights in the city as well. So I really appreciate the discussion on making sure we're spending money wisely, but I think these REIT dollars going to improving basically neighborhoods and in the streets is a good use of these dollars personally. And I think the citizens would appreciate some upgraded street lights and the long-term benefits. So with that, I will go ahead and call for the question.
Councilmember Fry,
Yes.
Dennehy,
Yes.
Goodnow,
Yes.
Mochler,
No.
Younger,
Yes.
Chamberlain,
Abstain.
Coughlin.
Yes.
Motion carries. We have 5 yeses, 1 no, and 1 abstention.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Rotner.
Thank you.
All right, next up on our agenda is council reports. Since this is the first council meeting of the month, we'll start with District 1, Councilmember Jennifer Chamberlain.
Oh my goodness. I'll keep it short and sweet. Mayor Wheeler, I am far behind you on my step count. I already told you that, but okay. So I'm still doing my park a day. Basically every day I go to a park and wearing my little Apple Watch that I kind of forgot I had for a year. It's making me more aware. So it looks like I'm averaging almost 3 times more steps over the past 9 weeks than I did the previous 17 weeks. So thank you. I just wanted to share that. My current average daily for this time period is 6,045. That's still far under the 10 to 12. So I got some work to do, sir. Other than that, that's all I got tonight.
All right, thank you. Next up, District 2, Councilmember Denise Fry.
I don't really have a report tonight, except that St. Vinny's is moving in. And I think that next Monday is their grand opening. So the old Henry hardware store, St. Vinny's is going to have a superstore over there. So everybody stop in and welcome to the neighborhood in District 2.
Next up, District 4, Councilmember Quinn Dennehy.
Thank you, Council President. My district, District 4, is a really important district in Bremerton, not only because of the Puget Sound Naval Shipyard, but I also have Olympic College and Bremerton High School in my district. And some information for the community regarding Bremerton High School, and along with the high school, all other kind of K2 through 12 Bremerton School District schools. There is a community forum for finalists for superintendent taking place at the boardroom of the district office. The first one, there's 3 candidates. The first one was on the 28th. The second one was on March 1st, and the final one is tomorrow. And you can go to the boardroom at Marion Street. It's 134 Marion Avenue in Bremerton. I believe that office is located in District 5, but tomorrow between 5 and 5:45, the third panelist and the finalist is going to be having a community forum. So if you want to show up to that in person, that'd be great. Otherwise, it is on Zoom. And I think you can still watch the recorded ones of the other 2 finalists as well. So if education is important to you, which it should be important to anybody, even if you don't have children in the school district, please attend the forum, take a look at the candidates, and make sure your voice is heard by getting some feedback to them. Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you. Next up, District 5, Councilmember Michael Goodnow.
No report this week.
All right, thank you. Next up, District 6, Councilmember Anna Mochler.
Thank you. First slide, please. So this February 22nd was my 1-year anniversary of my swearing in. February 24th was the 1-year anniversary of the Putin's invasion of the democratic Ukraine. So I'm often thinking about democracy. So it made me think even more about democracy. Just, it's like, who fights this hard, this long for something that's not near to their heart? It just really heartened me at the same time that it's horrible and tragic. It was just like, you don't fight like this, like the Wagner Group is fighting for money, or that's how they're always described in every paper I read. But the Ukrainians are fighting to be free and to have a democratic society. So that was pretty thrilling. And if I could have my next slide, please. Okay. Well, these are a little out of sync, but not to worry. This is a terrible graphic. I truly apologize. Once again, on the second Monday of the month, I'm having my town hall. This one's going to be on City Hall 101. Just really how government works. Really basic stuff. It's like just really how does it work? So if you have a question about it, shoot me an email and the next one will be in April. They will just keep coming every second Monday at the, thank you very much, Public Works, 100 Oyster Bay Avenue North, 4 to 6 p.m. Next slide, please. So this is some pretty amazing government. This is the state capitol at Olympia where President Coughlin and Vice President Chamberlain and I were participating in the Association of Washington Cities Lobby Days, Action Days. So this was great. Like there were people running around on the level I was, and I just went, wow, is this a great place to do the people's business? And they were like, yes. And it wasn't people who worked there. It was people who were coming to ask for things or school kids. It was quite thrilling. I think I'm about 3 minutes, yeah?
2 minutes, 30 seconds left.
All right, good. So the thing that I liked best about AWC, there were many things to like, was a small roundtable on civility and civic engagement. And that roundtable was packed. That workshop was filled with people who were literally excited about representing, not just in that idealistic way that lasts for a little while and then you kind of come down. They were in there for the long haul. There were people who had been doing it for decades of just, this is what I do. I represent the people. I want to make sure I hear from them. I want to make sure that they can speak to me. It was like people were going, oh, I found an even better way to do that. And they were like, oh, really? Let me share with you like how we sit down and have coffee with a few counselors, or how we come down from the dais and sit on a level with people so that they, we're not looking down upon them. And it was just for an hour and a half, people were just going, ooh, here's how we can be even better at what we do. So that was pretty much an extremely thrilling thing. So if you can go to the next slide, this is, I believe Vice President Chamberlain and President Coughlin took really good photos of like legislators and stuff. These are Dawn redwoods, a tree that was thought extinct forever, and it's a specimen tree there. Next and final slide, please. Really? Okay. All right then. Let me tell you about the picture that you would have been looking at. So that was pretty much it. It's been I'd like to thank every single one of you for it. This has been a very wonderful year, and I hope I can get better at it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, District 7, Councilmember Eric Younger.
Yeah, no report. Thank you.
Thank you. That leaves myself, and I got a few slides as well. So I saw this come out last night, and I just wanted to see folks aware of the updates. So the Washington State Ferries updated the restoration plan that they had put out last year. I think it's been out for about a year. And the fortunate update for Bremerton is that top line there, that the estimated restoration time for specifically on Washington State Ferries for the slow car ferries is looking at October. So this is directly from the update on the report that they're hoping to trial two-boat service towards the end of September, trying to get back to full reliability. It sounds like they will try and add some morning and midday trips in the third bullet point as they have crewing available, but really looking at October until we have full crewing. And I know this is frustrating to folks in the community, and I know the mayor's done a lot of hard work working with Kitsap Transit to get in the governor's office to get funding. The council wrote a resolution to the governor and Washington State Ferries supporting that funding, and as well as asking them to revisit this plan to try anything to make sure that Bremerton gets its fair share and equitable service. Personally, I think it's frustrating. We're the largest city on the peninsula, the most diverse, and if we go to the next slide here, I just get frustrated looking at This from the report where it shows the service reliability for the routes, and Bremerton is stuck at one boat, half a normal service. And I just want to encourage folks in the community to keep speaking up on this. What I don't want to see happen is we have a situation where there are several roads and many are nicely paved, and you have the one road that's broken down with potholes, and there's not a lot of traffic on that road. And then the reasoning for not improving that road is no one drives on it. I want to make sure that's not used against Bremerton. So please keep speaking up that the ferry, and specifically the car ferry, is important to Bremerton for the state to hopefully restore the service as fast as possible. And next slide. Moving on from the sad stuff, this is exciting. Thanks to council staff for seeing this. But August, so we've got many months. But it looks like we're having Northwest Food Truck Fest coming down to the boardwalk. So what a cool new community event, and I like how they say it's on the move. So put that on your calendars. And next up, I think my last two slides here is I just want to thank council so much. Thank you to the mayor and all the department directors and to the court. We had a great joint planning session a couple weeks ago where we discussed a lot of issues, some of them difficult. We met the past two study sessions to finish that discussion and write up our goals and priorities for the year. And so that was part of the consent agenda, is getting that passed. So we'll get that up on the website for folks. But I just want to make sure public was aware. This is what what council's priorities are for the next year and beyond. And then I just thought it would be neat in the next and final slide to, I just went back for the past couple of years, looking at the council goals and priorities and what was achieved. And of course, this is obviously not council alone, but with the hard work of the mayor and all the city staff to achieve a lot of these items. But even despite pandemic, there's been a lot of, I think, really great things that have been checked off the list from council goals and priorities, including zoning updates to many important areas of the city, Quincy Square funding, partnering with Bremerton Housing Authority and Kitsap Community Resources. We just allocated $500,000 to the Mills Crossing Affordable Housing Project. A lot of zoning in full toolkit on accessory dwelling units, duplexes, triplexes, working for affordable housing. We got an updated noise ordinance on the books. You've got, again, converting street light into LED. That just got passed tonight, another part of it. We got the B&O tax exemption raised to over $1 million to help out small businesses, funding for the Downtown Bremerton Association to work towards Main Street status. Continued great work on the Kitsap Lake water quality. There's funding in place for a DEI position, established the Complete Streets Committee, and I think we've been building some great relationships with Naval Base Kitsap and Puget Sound Naval Shipyard, especially with the tour last year. So I think these priorities matter. It's good to get them out there. I look forward to continuing to do great work. And thank you so much to everyone who makes this possible. And that's it for my report. So with that, concludes this meeting. A reminder that the next study session will be held here in the first floor meeting chambers next Wednesday, March 8th, beginning at 5 p.m. with a remote option. That concludes tonight's council business. Meeting is adjourned.